just been sentenced to a year on a deserted island because you refused to join Zuckerberg's Metaverse. What 3 things do you take with you to the deserted island?
Wow. Do I have internet on the
Nope.
deserted island?
No, it's deserted. There's probably food, there's plants,
Sure.
there's probably animals, but there's.
Well, I would have to bring, the main thing is I would have to bring some music. I'd have to bring an iPod or something, some music MP3 device with as much music as I could put on it. That would be certainly. I would bring my wife because, it would suck to be alone. And 3 things. I got one more.
Yeah, one more.
I guess I would, in the same vein as the music, I would have to bring some kind of device that has all of my books so that I have something to read. And of course, I would need something to charge it with. Some electrical source, maybe, a little solar generator. So I've got power to charge my devices.
Nice. So I would bring a year's supply of wine, coffee, and my trusty AeroPress coffee brewer. So
there you go. Well, I'm not a coffee guy, Ben. So
I know you're not. So that's true.
But wine, I didn't think of that. But
would you give up music or books for wine? That's the question there.
I'd probably have to give up my wife. No, don't.
No.
No.
Edit that out. We're on live on Memorex. So,
I honestly, I like wine, and it would be awesome. But I can live without the wine. But my books and my music, I think I would be hard pressed to do without.
Be bereft. Yes. Nice. And to our listeners, welcome to the Kimberly and Coach Show, where we bring you actionable practices that you can use in your leadership and collaboration. Today, Coach Kimberly is on an engagement this week out at a client out by Yellowstone National Park. And so I am free of adult supervision this week, and we should all be slightly afraid or at least amused by that little joke. Today with me is a colleague of mine that I'm super excited to bring to you because I've known him for more than 20 years. Believe that?
Yeah, it's been a long. I know, it's crazy. It's been a long time.
Bill Kulterman, master instructor. Bill, thanks for being on the show with us.
Well, thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. And to Ben's listeners, I will say, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ben. He's the one who got me started down this training path. He was my mentor, my instructor, and he got me my first job training. So again, all thanks to you, Ben.
Well, I appreciate that, Bill. I was the first person who recognized your genius. That's all. So,
well, thank you.
So to give you some context, Bill and I taught at 2 different training companies, New Horizons, where we were classroom instructors, and then at Train Signal, where we made a bunch of videos. And Bill now has his own training practice, and he's writing the book, or actually written the book, right? You guys finished the book?
Yeah, the book will be out soon.
Nice. With on Microsoft Word, something that so many of us use on the daily. And he wrote actually with another colleague of ours, Heather Ackman. So that I saw that and I thought, that's awesome. That's just super cool to kind of see, your careers and everywhere that places have taken you. So Bill, catch us up on what you've been doing here of late, because last time I was in Chicago, you're still making videos with LinkedIn. And so give us a quick rundown of what's happening right now.
So I'm not with Pluralsight anymore. I'm not doing anything with them, but I am working for another colleague of ours, Ben, J. Peter Brazzi, and he has his own training shop, Clip Training. And I've been working with Pete and the gang at Clip Training now for 5 years, and basically doing the same thing we did for Train Signal back in the day with Pete. Just about all Microsoft stuff. I just finished a new features on Windows 11 course. Just wrapped that up yesterday, so that'll be available probably early next week. But yeah, I've been working with Pete and the guys. Yeah, I've been working with Pete and the guys for 5 years. I still do stuff for LinkedIn. I just finished a course on Power Automate for them, and it's a beginning course. It's really nice. It is an update to a previous Power Automate course that I did 2 years ago, because Microsoft is always changing things and updating.
Always a new thing.
So we need some updating, and I have to say I think it's the best version yet. LinkedIn's been great. I have quite a few courses in their catalog: Power Automate, Power Apps, Power BI, a lot of the Power Suite stuff, SharePoint. They've been great. As you said, we just finished a book with Heather, and the book is, as we speak, at the printers, and nice. It's going to be available on Amazon. And right now they say November 12th, so very soon the book will be available. And it's an intermediate book, and it's geared towards business professionals, and it's basically a troubleshooting and tips and tricks. It's all the things that drive you crazy about Word that you don't know how to use. Now you do. Get our book, and it was, like we have 2 chapters on styles, bulleted and numbered lists.
Two chapters? Wow, that's a lot.
Well, styles are a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of things. Bulleted and numbered lists, working with graphics, long documents, track changes and compare and combine documents, all of these things that are really good to use in a business, collaborative situation. But let's face it, the interface is not intuitive. So,
not intuitive.
Our book, I know it's a shock, but our book hopefully will help everybody with that. So pick it up on Amazon. Nice. Like I said, you can just Google my name or Heather Ackman, and it'll take you right there.
Sweet. So yeah, so when we'll update the show notes to make sure that shows up in the show notes as well here. So you've been doing the training thing now for almost, not quite as long as I have, but for what, 15 years at least?
Right? Yeah, I was trying to think about that the other day, and I think it was 15 years ago we started at Train Signal. So, and then we had a couple of years before that at New Horizons. So, yeah, it's maybe 17 years. It's
nice.
It's a long time. It went fast.
Right. All of a sudden, before the recording, Bill and I were talking about how, it's been maybe even like at least 3 years, I think, since we last talked. And it seems weird, but of course we had the weird pandemic weirdness, which seems to like suck up a lot of time. So I blame that. So in this time, you're obviously a very successful instructor in both the classroom and on video. What kinds of techniques and methods have you discovered, either on purpose or accidentally? As I think all of my best discoveries are accidental. I don't know about you. You're smarter than I am. So you probably have at least a little bit more conscientiousness about what you're doing. What has really helped you connect with participants as you're teaching in either or video or classroom or both, whatever you'd like to speak to?
And, it really is 2 different sort of experiences, in the classroom, because they're right there in front of you. You have one-on-one and they're looking at you. And, one of the things that, you remember, we always used to joke about at New Horizons, it's being infotainment. We're giving them information and we have to entertain them because, we want them to give us good scores on our reviews, on our evals.
Right.
But, that's just kind of surface. Once you start doing it for a while and you get into it, I've learned that really the best way to do it is to be yourself. The best way to reach them and to, be honest with them. If somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, tell them, I don't really know. It's not a situation that I've ever had to deal with. And if it's a situation where we have time, I'll say, you know what, let's work on it together as a class. Let's try to figure it out. And that way they get more engaged, because you're not just spoon feeding them the answer, they're working towards it. And that's going to help them retain it better than if you just, read it. You remember we had some of our instructors who basically just sat there and read from the book.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, how do these people learn? And it's really good to try and work with them and see what concerns they have. Now, it's a fine line between being a consultant, which, we're not really being paid to do, or if they have an issue that, I always try to do this and it doesn't work for me. What am I doing wrong? And that's a great teaching moment. You can really show them, this is what you've got to do. And, it helps. Like I said, it gets them engaged and they really feel like they're learning something and they're getting something of value for spending their time with you.
Right.
That's kind of the best thing that I found with, some of our instructor pals. They'll bring donuts on the last day. Hey, everybody, here's a little treat. And again, that's
comedy with a side of bribery.
Exactly. And it isn't really in a lot of ways, it's not their fault. It's kind of the system we were in, because there was such pressure on us to be evaluated well that, our jobs were at stake. Let's call it what it is, So you had to do what you had to do to keep your job, just to keep working. So, but eventually, like I said, I realized, be honest with them, be straight, and really try to pull them into what you're doing. Don't just stand up there and, preach.
Yeah.
Now with video, it's a lot different. It's a lot harder, because they can't see, they don't see you, you don't see them. So one of the best bits of advice I ever got was from our old Scott Skinger, the old owner of Train Signal, when I first started working with Train Signal. And to this day, this is the advice I give guys who are new to training, video training. And it's something I try to do every day. When you're teaching a course, when you're recording, I want you to imagine that you're sitting down with one of your buddies and you're showing them how to do it. You're relaxed, you're engaged, you're excited, you're trying to help them learn something. Again, a lot of video, we've seen, you and me both, Ben, have seen a lot of bad video training. Boring, death by PowerPoint, just like monotone. I'm reading from a book, and be excited. You may be the 100th time you've taught this course, but your listener, it's the first time for them. So you have to be, hey, we're going to do this. This is awesome. You're going to love it. You have to bring that same energy that you have in the classroom to the videos, to video training, because it comes through. It really does. That's been the biggest thing. And, people keep asking me to come back and do more videos, and I get a lot of good comments from my students. So I guess I'm doing a good job.
Hey, that's the thing, right?
Every morning when I open up LinkedIn, if I get a comment on there, one of the people on LinkedIn, I just watched Bill's course, it was great. And, they may send me a private message. Thank you for this content. It really helped. That's a great feeling, because then that, you're reaching people. Because let's face it, day to day, my life is just me talking to myself in this room.
Isn't that weird?
I don't know who's watching it. I don't know if anybody's watching it, anybody's listening. I'm just sitting here talking to myself. So when I get feedback like that, it's great.
Right on. I love it. So in your opinion, in your experience, is there one thing that will make or break a session? And maybe we should even talk about both, because I think we've already kind of got the make thing. I think you've already described, here's the thing that really creates a successful class. But what's something that could break a training session, a training class?
You know, one of the hardest things in an in-person class is that the student who is just there because I've been working on this in my job, they want me to do this, and I don't know how, and I want you to teach me. But what they really want is consulting. And it's like, I can't take everybody else's time to help you. But a lot of times they are insistent, and it's not knowing how to handle it. I mean, it's an easy thing to say, talk to me afterwards and we'll see if we can't go through it and fix it. But if you don't handle that correctly, that student is going to have a problem. They may be angry, they may have an attitude, and that could spread very easily throughout the rest of the room. So when you have situations like that, you have to deal with it quickly. You have to make them understand, I'm going to get to you, I promise, but we just don't have time to do it now. You know, that's always a very difficult situation. That, and the student who is forced to be there by their employer and they don't want to be there. And they can be a distraction. And it's another situation that you have to deal with. You know, it's very hard as the instructor, and it, you know, it's just doing it year after year and time after time and learning how to deal with it. And, you know, you have to be very careful. These kinds of things can derail the whole class, you know?
Yeah.
And for God's sake, stay on topic. You know, we had one star, I'm not going to mention his name, but it's a guy that you and I both know and we've worked with for many, many years. He tended to like to go and if he was teaching a specific thing, he'd start telling stories about, oh, when I was working in so-and-so, this we would do, and he would just go off and completely be away from, you're laughing, you must know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it was just like, the students are like, I don't care. Let's get back to the material, you know, stay on topic.
Yeah, right on. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about this new thing that Zuckerberg just announced. So I think this is it's an interesting topic from a training and instructional standpoint. This whole idea of Zuckerberg's Metaverse and Meta, you know, what are your thoughts about how this is this going to change how we teach in general, and especially how we teach tech? You know, do you think that we're going to get pushed towards this kind of thing, or is this even going to matter at the end of the day?
That's a good question. I like to think that, you know, like anything else, when it's new, you know, we'll lose people. You know, some people are going to embrace it wholeheartedly, and a lot of that is generational. You know, we didn't mention it before, but I had told you offline that, you know, I've been working on an HR training company, and one of the things that's big is, you know, working with people across different generations. Because right now in the workforce, we have 7 different generations that we could be all in the same office, and everybody has different things. And so your younger generations, they may embrace it. Older guys like me and you know, we're going to stick with what we know. I don't think that we're in danger of losing our jobs anytime soon. Or, you know, I actually think that it could ultimately be a good thing, because it's going to offer another option for people who may not, you know, relate to what we're doing either in video or in the classroom. This may be another option for them, and say, hey, this appeals to me where this doesn't. I don't think we're gonna, you know, we're not gonna lose the people who like what we're doing either with video or in person, you know, because there's always going to be market for that. but this might be something somebody like I said, some of your younger generations are the ones that strike me as being the people drawn to this. To them, it might be, wow, this is great. This is a great thing. I'm going to really benefit from this.
Yeah.
I think the more options people have, the more likely they are to find something that works for them. And at the bottom line, that's the key, is we want to get this knowledge to people so that it can help them.
Yeah, right on.
Because technology isn't going away. It's not just a passing fad.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's not just this whole internet fad we talked about in the 90s, right? So,
right. My biggest accomplishment is I got my 90-year-old mother to use a smartphone.
Wow. Nice.
And she loves it. After about a month, she was like, how do I make those little pictures of me? She wanted to know how to do Bitmojis. So I set her up with a Bitmoji account and got them on her. And now she's like texting Bitmojis to everybody.
I love it. I love it. Nice. I'm wondering if this whole metaverse thing won't pull people back to to an on-person, because in on-person modality, because here in the last 2 years over the course of the pandemic, we hear so many people talk about Zoom fatigue.
Right.
And right now, two of our clients, one client is very comfortable doing things remote because they're people literally all around the world. They don't have any other choice but to do things remote. But another client is here in town in Austin, and they're not doing anything remote. Okay. You will be in their office or you're not working with them. It's just a different, they don't want to do Zoom. They don't like Zoom, and they're, and you're not going to push them to do Zoom. And they do have that multi-generational audience in their office. So it's really fascinating, the two different distinctions.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's still, I think, like you said, just another option, I think is probably probably going to be the byword. I think it's a really great insight. So awesome. Well, Bill, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And it's good to.
It was my pleasure. It was so good to see you.
I know, right? So I'm going to be in Chicago in about 6 months, I think. So
awesome. We will have to get together.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So, and to you, our dear listener, thanks for tuning in to the Kimberly Coach Show, where we endorse watching Saturday morning cartoons under a speed racer blanket with a big bowl of cereal as a completely valid method of self-care. We'll see you next time. Cheers.